Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
When do we want? When do we want to?
Now.
When do we want?
Justice.
When do we want to?
Now.
Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.
Killing babies is a crime.
Free Palestine.
Amazing, folks. I've got another speaker for you, folks. I know that you all know him well. Omar has been dedicated to Palestine for a very, very long time. And he wants to say a few words to you now about what's happening.
Assalamualaikum, folks. Friends, the time we're living through is a point in modern history that won't be forgotten. Ever since I was a child, I heard the mantras of truth, of justice, of equality, and the sanctity and value of life. And we can talk about the fine speeches that we see in history on these subjects, or deep dive into them in academic discourses. But what is the reality? The reality is that the real world is a world of injustice. The real world is a world of inequality. And the real world is a world of spin and propaganda. And what brings us to the steps of the court today is the struggle for the freedom of Palestine, because that is the vanguard and the front line of the battle for all those values that we aspire to. For Palestinians, they're denied justice as a people under a brutal and repressive occupation. It is Palestinians who are forced to live in an apartheid system which denies them justice. And it is the Palestinians who are denied equality as their places of worship, churches and mosques, and in particular the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the soul of 1.5 billion Muslims across the world, are violated and desecrated on a daily basis. There's no value given to the life of a Palestinian, as they're called human animals, or as blades of grass in a lawn to be mowed periodically by the IDF in Gaza, a concentration camp created by nearly 2 decades of blockade. The cause of Palestine is the front line in the battle for the most basic of human rights, and that is what brings us to the steps of the Sheriff Court here today. For almost a quarter of a century in my lifetime, our rights to protest peacefully, to challenge authority, to think freely, and to have safe spaces to challenge and have uncomfortable conversations have been systematically eroded by those who challenge the world over, are being silenced, ostracized, or cancelled. We live under the yoke of a global hegemony where money, information, and military might rule. From increasingly authoritarian governments to paramilitary policing and press and news held in the hands of a few, and a weapons industry that haunts the corridors of power. It's that system that in my adult life has brought us the killing fields of Iraq, of Afghanistan, of Libya, and many more. And it's that system that gives cover to Israel as it continues its system of settler colonialism and apartheid and theft of land, and allows weapons to be periodically tested on the people of Gaza. And never forget, Palestine has a right to resist against occupation. That is a fundamental right that's enshrined in human rights law. And our movement that many of you are part of, this movement is not a movement of hate. It is part of that fundamental right to resist. And that is what brings us to the court here today. For us to challenge that hegemony demands of us courage. It demands us the courage to speak truth to power, to take direct action, to have our demands for justice and freedom heard. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace. And that cause that movement, it needs leaders. It needs ones who'll stiffen their backs, puff out their chests, stand firm. And that's precisely what brings us to our comrade Mick's side here today at the court. You can take him, take Mick. In his place we will raise new Micks. In his place we'll raise more Mick Napiers. Because the fire in the eyes of everyone here today tells us that we're all prepared for the battles that lie ahead, for the battles that we fight in this country. The battles that we fight in this country are intertwined with the freedom for a free Palestine, for all those freedoms are being violated in Palestine as we speak. So when we stand here today in solidarity with Mick, we stand here in solidarity also with the people of Palestine and all those who face injustice across the world. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Is there another speaker for you folks? So it's all going to be